Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
I'm Kelly Covato, and I'm the GM of Business Development for The Trade Desk. If you don't know anything about The Trade Desk, we are the largest demand-side platform, and we help brands like MGM connect to the open internet across from connected television, digital out-of-home, and display. So I'm excited to be here today and talk with my client, Mike, at BetMGM. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sure. Michael Manzo, Director of Advertising for BetMGM. I've been with the company pretty much since the start, when PASPA passed about 6 or 7 years ago now. We're live in about 29 markets, I believe, now across the country. We do a lot of work with the Trade Desk, and CTV is obviously something we're investing more in. So we're excited about the future, not only with CTV but with the Trade Desk as well.
Thanks, Mike. So I've had a lot of fun watching your new campaign, Make It Legendary, which you just announced and premiered with one of my favorites from Mad Men, John Hamm. Any John Hamm fans in the audience here?
There's more than that. They're just shy.
Yeah. Well, I'm focused on him and your brand, but he's a lot of fun. So tell us a little bit about Make It Legendary and what really inspired the creative refresh this time.
Sure. So we did something crazy. We talked to our players. We asked them what stands out to you. What do you like? What is a feeling you get from playing on either BetMGM or whether it's a sports book or casino? And what it really came down to was they would talk about moments that they have, whether it's with friends, family, where it's like something crazy happened. And it's like, hey, remember that night and how great that was? And, we had so much fun, and, you talk about it for years at hand. And a good example is just this past weekend, a couple of my buddies from work, we're throwing a parlay on, every week. And there was this one crazy one. It was like $10 to win $11,000, right? And we didn't win, obviously, but
darn.
But you kind of had to do it because one guy did it, and if you didn't do it and that guy did win, you'd be miserable, right? But if you did hit that, imagine talking about that for the rest of your life, right? You're like, oh my God, you remember that time we put that $10 parlay on and we hit for 11 grand. I remember the first time I went to Vegas, I hit the same number on roulette 6 times.
I want to gamble with you.
Yeah. So that's things you remember, right? So it's a legendary event in your life. So hence where the Make It Legendary kind of evolved from. We wanted to stand out too, obviously, in the business. There's a lot out there right now. FanDuel, DraftKings, ESPN Bet, Fanatics. We need to distinguish ourselves, obviously, in this very cluttered industry where we're all spending a ton of money, right? Every game you watch, you're seeing a ton of advertising. And we were seeing that our previous tagline, the King of Sportsbooks, was really confusing people in a sense because King of Sportsbooks, they were assimilating with DraftKings. We saw a lot also that Kevin Hart, people were associating him with BetMGM, and Jamie Foxx, they were associating him with DraftKings. So we wanted to do something that was just a little bit different. The relationship with Jamie came to an end. It was great, but it was just time to kind of take a step back, look at what we can do differently, and the new campaign came on.
Yeah, let's take a look. I think we have some videos to play.
So how did these three end up in this Vegas speakeasy with a story no one will believe? It began with ringside seats from BetMGM. That meant anything was possible. Like chatting with this guy, not that guy, this guy, who knew another guy who gave them a password that led down here, through here, and along here. Oh, not here. And helped them open this door. Actually, a bookcase with a hostess named Jules and an epic spot. Make it a night where anything can happen. BetMGM. Make it legendary.
It's awesome. I think we have one more, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Or not, but it was legendary. Okay, so you talked about it. Obviously, you're in a very competitive industry, and that's not new news to you. How do you differentiate your brand at BetMGM and speak about it in a way that customers really want to choose you over some of your competitive base?
Sure. So we have the luxury of leaning into the MGM brand that's been around for a very long time, the resorts. And that's really a key differentiator, easy for me to say, compared to the other businesses, right? We're able to provide an experience, whether it's in Vegas or across any of the MGM properties across the country, that other people just aren't able to do that. we're able to provide these legendary nights. Sorry, but they are. Whether it could be a Bruno Mars concert, Lady Gaga, fantastic restaurants in Vegas, and that's really a key factor in what we want to lean into to provide. We talk often that we want to be kind of like the American Express of sports books in a sense, right? Where we have players, we have members, we don't have customers, and being able to give them, you place a bet with us and you get a free night in Vegas. Again, that's something that nobody else can offer. So it really stands out. We have a really good reward system with MGM Rewards too that we can tap into. BetMGM has its own reward system as well too, but we have the two talk to each other. We have a really good partnership with Marriott, so we're able to leverage that as well too. So if you stay at any of their properties across the country, you can use Marriott points for BetMGM and vice versa. And then just the experience itself with our VIP program. To me, it's obviously the best in the industry. Able to provide these one of a kind events for people and going to the Super Bowl or March Madness, whatever it might be.
I love that. I mean, I go to Vegas a lot for work, and I get to enjoy your resorts. And also, I'm a customer of BetMGM, so I think that's a fantastic approach that you really leverage the brand across both business lines. So you talked also about CTV and how much you're leaning into that. I know in my household, we're watching sports in the fall every weekend, and it's hard to not see your brand out there. Why is CTV such an important cornerstone to your marketing mix, and how do you think about measuring that and relating it back to business ROI?
Sure. So the two enemies I always say of marketing are legal and finance, right? As you may have saw at the end of our ad, a lot of disclaimer. So, legal and compliance, we have to deal with that. That's fine. But when it comes to finance, you need to prove yourself, right? You need to prove the dollars that you're spending, what's working and how. And a lot of the jest I get from my finance guy is, mass media, we can't measure that, right? And I always tell them we can. I said, there's brand lift studies, I give the line, I give the spiel. But now with CTV, we can, right? So there's a lot of measurement capabilities that we have with that now. It's obviously just where the audience is going anyway. So yeah, we definitely tap in more. We're putting more dollars into our CTV budget to take advantage of not only measurement, but it's sending the right message to the right client at the right time. So somebody like you, let's just say you're in Detroit, for example, right? You might get a Detroit Lions focused kind of piece of creative where I'm in Jersey and I'm getting a Giants creative, right? So it's really taking the digital advertising strategy and bringing it onto television. So we're investing heavily, much more there. We finally got our contract done, which took a long time dealing with all the data privacy stuff. So we're going to be doing much more together.
Yeah, and I know we talked about this in the green room a bit, but I think one of the other things that's really interesting working with you guys is you're not just thinking about CTV. You're thinking about the entire customer journey and what an omni-channel campaign can look like, because a customer doesn't know, okay, this was a brand ad, this was a performance ad. They just see BetMGM. So can you talk a little bit more about how you invest in omni-channel beyond just CTV? How do you think about things like digital out of home or audio?
Sure. So you're right. So to the audience, BetMGM, MGM, same company, right? We're not technically, right? MGM owns half of us. That's a whole nother story. I won't get into and bore everybody with that. But to the customers, we're all MGM. So again, we lean into the MGM resorts from an omni standpoint where we can, whether it's in our advertising itself, we've done plenty of things where the Bellagio fountains, where we're either walking on it or we're doing something along the Vegas Strip, which MGM owns. And just tapping into that more and more to get that or to promote that feeling that only BetMGM can bring. Digital out of home is another medium which has been, you struggle to measure out of home at times, right? So digital out of home does provide that flexibility though too for flighting. So again, I'm going to use Michigan as an example because it's a dual product market for us. In the morning, you could be going to a Lions game, and again, you have a Lions message. Let's place your bets now on the Lions. We'll put the odds up or the spread, and then as you're leaving, you can see a BetMGM casino ad. Because go home, Lions win, you won your bet. Maybe you want to play some roulette or blackjack now as well. So the digital out of home allows us to do that. Obviously, where static is obviously static, so it doesn't have that flexibility. but we are able to get some measurement from it as well too, whether it's geo tracking or there's other capabilities now that are providing more of that measurement and proving out our investments.
Yeah, we see that on our side too. The clients can really connect every touch point in the journey back to a business KPI, which is really powerful when you sit down and talk with your CFO and say, hey, this was, the reason we invested at this level. So just to shift gears for a minute to talk about responsible gaming, I know at BetMGM you really believe in that. Can you talk
Yes.
about how you have really, weave in some of those messages into your marketing around trust and safety and what
Sure.
that means for players?
Yeah, so responsible gaming is one of our pillars at BetMGM. So as somebody who runs the advertising for this, we still want it to be a fun message, engaging, memorable. So we have used Connor, I almost said McDavid or McGregor. It is Connor McDavid, pretty much the best hockey player in the world right now. So he's in our RG ad. We run it a lot in Canada because not only he's a great hockey player, but in Canada you can only use current or previous athletes in a responsible gaming message. So it's a fun ad. I wish we had it, but we didn't provide that one. And it just kind of talks about staying within your limits. Connor McDavid is talking to his friend, and it just gets a little crazy. He's got a long beard and soup, and I won't get too into it, but it's fun, it's memorable, and it promotes obviously responsible gaming. Where we actually saw an uptick of, I think it's about 40% people in Canada set their own limits without us having to set a limit for them. So that's what we want to. We want to. It's all about fun, right? You don't gamble to win money. I know that's a crazy thing to say, but it's about entertainment. That's all it is, right? Like I said before, that $10 parlay me and my buddies we put in on Sunday, right? It was like, wow, imagine if this would happen, and you're into a couple games here and there to see, is Taysom Hill going to score 2 touchdowns? That was part of the parlay. But we utilize, we have some great ambassadors. So we have a Derek Jeter responsible gaming ad that's coming out shortly. John Hamm as well too. So again, it's about just getting that message out, making sure it's memorable, promoting it, maintaining the player, and the really just monitoring to make sure nobody is getting too crazy with it.
I like that. I mean, it really supports your whole make it legendary. It's about the experience for the player. So we talked a little bit about this, but kind of back to the measurement game and sitting in front of the CFO. I think one thing that's really interesting about working with you guys is you do sit on all of this incredible data because you have to verify that someone is old enough and eligible to game and play with you. So how do you think about customer acquisition beyond just the first deposit and really thinking about player lifetime value and longer term metrics for the business?
Sure. So what we see is if we can get a third deposit, basically you're a customer, right? Or a player. We have you for not life, but you're gonna maintain. You're gonna stay a BetMGM player. So retention offers are key as well. I think this goes a little bit more to our CTV strategy as well too, around getting that right message, right player at the right time. The market's mature. This is our 6th or 7th NFL season, I think, in New Jersey. We haven't had a market go live since North Carolina, which was, I believe, a year and a half ago. Missouri's about to go live, right? So there's people that have been seeing our ads for 5 or 6 years already, whether it's on a national spot on the NFL. So that new customer offer doesn't respond or doesn't resonate with somebody who's been a customer for 4 or 5 years, right? So what can we offer them from an above the line standpoint from advertising that just stands out a little more? So last year we had an ad called our Second Chance promotion, which was if you bet on Saquon Barkley to score the first touchdown of the game, but if he didn't, but he got he scored the second one, you get your money back in cash. It was the first ad that we ran as a retention offer in our national advertising, which we saw really good uptick in actives and just, given that offer for somebody to come and play with us who's already got their welcome offer, and, they can't get that again.
So it's interesting. You're really thinking about retention now that you're kind of 5 years in and what that looks like for the long term. That's great. So I think with that in mind, I know, it sounds like 26 is going to be a big year for both resorts and BetMGM. What does the next 12 to 18 months look like for you as it relates to things like market expansion or player refinement?
Sure. So I just said Missouri goes live December 1st. So we'll expand in the U.S. And then Alberta goes live hopefully by the summer of next year, which will be a sports and casino market, which we always see our casino markets are our strongest markets. Just the MGM brand obviously resonates with that. We have a great product, great casino product. We offer a slew of games that are exclusive to MGM. So I think the next 12 to 18 months is really going to be focused on those two markets when it comes to expansion. And then we go back to what we were just talking about when it comes to retention. What can we offer you from both the sportsbook and casino standpoint so that you can maintain that experience with BetMGM?
So if I were to ask you 5 years from now, what do you want people to think about when they hear BetMGM? What is the vision for the brand?
Legendary experiences, of course. My hope, our hope is that it's your sports book of choice, it's your casino product of choice. You're building your rewards with us, so hopefully you've visited one of our properties, whether it's in Vegas, Michigan, New Jersey, Mississippi, wherever it might be, and you've just enjoyed those nights, and you talk about them with your friends still.
It's a great answer. So I guess, back to thinking about building a legendary brand, I think one of the core components of that is following the customer journey. And people's time is shifting rapidly in media right now with the evolution of AI. And I think a lot of people are getting tired of doom scrolling. So how are you thinking about the changing media landscape and again, meeting customers where they are?
AI is obviously huge, and I think it's going to be. I think it was on every panel I heard yesterday. It's going to be on every panel probably everybody hears today. But how we're looking to utilize it is, again, getting that right message, the right creative at the right time, and even just versioning our creative is really, I think, what we're diving into now is how can AI help us to just spin out a piece of creative in minutes rather than possibly days. We do have to deal with our regulations and compliance and making sure that it's not sending out something that's gonna get us fined or just be a poor message or a poor experience for a player. But we've been using AI for years already when it comes to whether it's creative or our business intelligence. It's obviously a hot topic now, but I think it's going to be more about just producing those pieces of creative, getting them in front of the right people at the right time.
And one thing I've heard you talk a lot about is dynamic creative optimization. Can you share with the audience a little bit about what you're doing there?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if you heard me say it, but it's about getting the right message to the right person at the right time. And yeah, whether it's when it comes to like a CTV standpoint, it's pause ads. What else do we have? We have dynamic. There we go. Dynamic. It's very, very fancy. Dynamic interface. I think there's more to do. We were listening to a panel yesterday just about how that creative can utilizing AI, how that creative can be built so that it's even based off of you're watching Ocean's 11, right? And the AI can sense, okay, that's a casino program. Let's run the casino ad here for these viewers. At the same time, you're watching the news, and we have a placement in news, and we just saw something horrific happen. Let's maybe not run our ad right after that as well too. So I think we're going to lean more into that.
It's exciting. Okay, we're going to tie it up with a little bit of fun. I would say roulette here. Okay, Vegas or New York?
New York.
You had to answer that, right? You're a Jersey guy.
Sorry, actually, it's New Jersey.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Correction. Yeah. Craps or roulette?
Roulette.
Well, you did just tell us you won.
I have no idea how to play craps.
Don Draper or Roger Sterling?
Ooh. That is a tough one. I guess I have to say Don Draper, but I would love to party with Roger Sterling.
I mean, Roger Sterling's pretty awesome too. Yeah. Aria or the Cosmo?
Aria.
Good answer. Martini or red wine?
We talked about this last night. So it's red wine, but if you ever see me with an espresso martini, just put me to bed.
Or party in Vegas.
Yes. It'll be a legendary night.
That's right. Thanks, guys, so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.